Our commencement speaker today needs no introduction. Just about everyone here knows who he is and what he means to Hokie Nation. Frank Beamer has been much more than an outstanding coach. Throughout his career, he demonstrated what it means to be a leader with honor, integrity, and spirit of service. He taught us with his words and example, and he's still teaching us today. Please welcome Coach Frank Beamer.
Have fun, Frank.
Thank you very much. Who was in charge of the weather here? You got to be tough to be a Hokie, right? Yeah. First, I would like to thank President Sands, Provost Clark, members of the Board of Visitors, Virginia Tech Vice Presidents and Deans, fellow award winners, and the graduating class of 2019. It's an honor to stand in front of you today. I would also like to recognize the parents and friends and family members of all the graduates here today. Congratulations. Graduates, I'm going to tell you one thing now. Listen up. Your days of hanging out at the top of the stairs, Big Al's, Sharky's, on your parents' dime, it's over. You're on your own now. Welcome to the real world. The class of 2019 will always hold a special place in my heart. When you entered as a freshman, I was entering my final season as your head football coach. The end of a dream for me at Virginia Tech and the beginning of a new chapter for you. Memories that will last a lifetime. I've walked through that tunnel between player and coach here 191 times. And to look out and see the stadium rocking, the inner Sandman, it was a sight to see. But today I can honestly say I'm probably more nervous than any game we ever played here. I hope my message to you gives each of us just one more victory together and one more memorable trip through that tunnel. Today, I hope you will be able to remember the four people I will speak about and the message each of them have to you. Just as the football game has four quarters, I have four individual stories to share. The first person is my mother, Herma Beamer. My mother was a school teacher for over 30 years. She was a strong, determined woman. She taught me many things growing up. But one of the most important qualities she taught me was how to handle adversity. You see, when I was 7 years old, I nearly died in a gasoline explosion. I was burned severely. Over the next 4 years, I had more than 30 surgeries. That was adversity. But my mother taught me not to feel sorry for myself. During each of those summers, when my friends were playing baseball, swimming, having fun, I was in the hospital. What my mother made me do each day in the hospital when I was feeling sorry for myself is get up and walk the halls. And her message was, indeed, you are facing adversity, but there are people who are far less fortunate. Deal with your situation and move on. As you embark on your careers and you put your degree from Virginia Tech to work, each of you are going to face adversity. It's going to happen. Prepare each day for it. But more importantly, prepare each day for how you will react to it. You may not always control what happens to you, but you do control how you will respond. My mother taught me that at an early age by walking the halls. The second person I want to talk about is a basketball coach, a young man that died of cancer at an early age. I'm sure many of you know the name Jim Valvano. He was a charismatic head foot basketball coach at North Carolina State. Valvano's team shocked the sports world when they won the national championship in 1983. I'd like to mention two things Jim Valvano did that have great meaning. First, we know the tradition of basketball teams cutting down the net after winning a championship. That's a symbol of a champion. Each team member and coach gets to climb the ladder, cut off a piece of the net. But what Valvano did is my message to you. Each season, he would devote an entire practice to the proper procedure in cutting down the net. He would bring the ladder out, have each person climb, and properly cut a piece of the net as he instructed them. This would be an entire day of practice. And what eventually happened in 1983, they got to cut down the net. My message is for you to set your goals high and practice for when you can win your championship. Shortly before his passing, Valvano made an inspirational speech during the ESPY Awards. He said the following: we should do three things every day of our life. We should laugh, we should think, we should have our emotions move to tears of joy or tears of sadness. There are a great number of people that have helped you get here today. Many have given you guidance, support, and direction. Make sure you thank them. Make sure you tell them you love them. On this great day of celebration, I ask you to laugh, to think, and to bring yourself to tears. We're now in the third quarter. The third person I want to talk about is Charles Plum. Charles Plum was a Navy pilot, U.S. Navy pilot in Vietnam. After 75 combat missions, his plane was destroyed by a surface-to-air missile. Plum ejected and parachuted into enemy hands. He was captured and spent 6 years in a communist Vietnamese prison. Many years later, Plum and his wife were sitting in a restaurant. A man at another table came up and said, "You're Plum. You flew jet fighters in Vietnam from the aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk, and you were shot down. How in the world did you know that?" asked Plum. I packed your parachute," the man replied. Plum gasped in surprise and gratitude. The man pumped his hands and said, "I guess it worked." Plum assured him, "It sure did. If your chute hadn't worked, I wouldn't be here today." Plum couldn't sleep that night, thinking about that man. Plum says, "I kept wondering what he might have looked like in a Navy uniform, a white hat, a bib in the back, bell-bottom trousers. I wonder how many times I might have seen him and not even said, 'Good morning, how are you?' or anything, because you see, I was a Top Gun fighter and he was just a sailor." Plum thought of the many hours the sailor had spent in the long wooden table in the bows of the ship, carefully weaving and folding the silks of each chute, and holding in his hand each time the fate of someone he didn't know. It's always been very important to me to show appreciation for all those involved in the success during my career, no matter what role they played in winning the game or in my personal life. I always tried to thank them. You know who packed your parachute. Thank them today. The fourth and final person I want to speak about is country singer Tim McGraw. I like Tim McGraw. Really like Faith Hill, but songwriter for Tim McGraw, Lori McKenna, wrote a song in 2 hours that was a message she wanted to send to her children. I know there's a message for each of us in Tim McGraw's song. The song title is Humble and Kind. Tim McGraw sings the following: "Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. I know you have mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind." McGraw continues, "When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, don't forget, turn back around and help the next one in line. Always be humble and kind." Those are indeed meaningful words. As you begin life after graduation, there will be times when it seems like there's a mountain to climb. You're going to face adversity, but you can climb the mountain. You can make it to the peak. My mother, Herma Beamer, taught me to do that by walking the halls of the hospital. You can do it by preparing each day for how you will handle adversity. Dream big, McGraw continues, when the dream you're dreaming comes to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride. Today, celebrate your degree from Virginia Tech. Laugh, think, bring yourself to tears. Your diploma can lead you to many more victories in your life. Be determined to make it happen, just like Coach Jim Valvano did. Be ready to cut down the net. Back to McGraw. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line. Today and every day, I encourage you to thank those people for allowing you to accomplish what we are celebrating today. Charles Plum taught us to thank those who packed our parachutes. Who packed your parachute? And finally, I hope that when you leave here today, you will remember the words of Tim McGraw and Frank Beamer. What's those words? Always be humble and kind. God bless you and congratulations.